Hey, Dan here, and if you're a fan of this channel, I'm willing to guess that you are interested in changing at least one part of your life. Adding in a new habit or breaking a bad habit, whether it's exercising more or eating different or starting meditating or whatever that is. Most of us who are interested in becoming better people, we like to change our habits and make changes in our lives. There's a problem that comes up really frequently. I see this as a coach all the time where we get this burst of excitement and then we try to change everything. Like we'll go from sitting on the sofa, eating potato chips, just like bathing in our own filth to, all right, I'm going to run 10 kilometers every morning. I'm going to, give up whatever wheat, dairy, some food group. I'm going to start meditating every morning. I'm going to start working harder on my business, blah, blah, blah. Occasionally this does work if you have enough motivation, like you've actually hit rock bottom in life. But usually what happens is there's too much we're trying to do all at once, right? So we're trying to make all these life changes, but it doesn't work out because we're trying to do so many things at once. There's no chance really of making it work. Fortunately, there's something else that you can do. What's this magical approach? It's called a Keystone Habit. And if you're a subscriber to my life design emails, if you're not, I suggest you become one, then you would have read about this in one of the emails. And what a Keystone Habit is it's something that you change, a single habit, and that has effects all across your life. So let me give you an example of this. And why Keystone Habits are so cool is it's kind of like a hack or a trick or whatever. You change one thing and you only have to focus on doing one thing, and then you get all kinds of positive changes everywhere else. A great example of a Keystone Habit is running. When people start running, whether it's going for a morning run or an evening run or whatever that is, it can have huge effects on many areas of their life. Made even easier is if you start running because of a goal. So let's say a bunch of your friends are running a half marathon or a 10-kilometer race, and they invite you to be part of it. You have now a clear goal, something you're trying to do, and that requires you to be running, be training, right? But if you're like a smoker, you're probably going to start cutting back or quitting because when you go running, it's embarrassing. You don't have the lung capacity. Maybe you don't feel as good after. So you might not quit smoking, but unconsciously, you're likely going to smoke less and less. You're probably going to start eating healthier because you realize like, hey, that night when I had a really good salad for dinner, I could run further and I felt better the next day. So you'll start adjusting your diet. You won't make a massive shift instantly. You won't consciously change it, but you'll unconsciously change it because it will feel better. Similarly, because you're running, you might spend more time with people who are running, who may be likely to be more goal-oriented people. They might be people who are waking up earlier, then you start waking up earlier, therefore you go out to the bars less at night because you can't wake up early if you get really drunk the night before, yada, yada, yada. Suddenly you look like an entirely different person. But the only thing that really changed was you started running, 4 times a week. That's a pretty easy way to make a really big change in many areas of your life. Now, I would not be doing you service if I just left you with this running example here. So some other examples of a good Keystone Habit would be some kind of creative activity that you do daily. In my free freelancer program, one of the students loves to paint. Painting is not his freelance profession, but is something that he just loves to do and has a great talent for. And so I encouraged him to start painting on a daily basis. Just make sure that every day before you do anything else, do some painting. And it became this Keystone Habit for him in a bunch of ways. First, I think emotionally it was really positive. If you're a creative person, you need that outlet. It can have some seriously negative effects if you aren't expressing yourself. It also added some discipline and structure to his day. It started eliminating checking email early in the morning, which has a really big effect. And one of the effects on his work is he said he actually became more productive because he had the less time to get the work done. So normally he might get up at 8, check his emails, sort of go through things really slowly. Instead, he'd get up at 8, paint for 2 or 3 hours, and then have an hour or less to get through his work. So he would get through his work a lot quicker, being more efficient and more effective. So he's not losing anything on the work side. He's spending less time, but he's getting the same amount of output ultimately. Now, some keystone habits are quite easy to explain, right? The running example. You start running, it makes sense. You're going to eat healthier, go to bed earlier, that sort of thing. Others, it's more subtle, or science doesn't necessarily have a clear way to explain it yet. The creativity example would be part of that. There can be other things as well. For instance, checking your email in the morning. Maybe you just make that one decision to leave your smartphone off until noon. Try that out, and I bet you that will have effects on all areas of your life. It will cause you to start planning a lot more. It will cause you to be more proactive and less reactive, probably improve your mood, probably improve focus. And what will happen is when you have improved mood and focus, guess what? Other things are going to change, right? So it's not just about having the improved habit in that one area, but once you're feeling better mentally, maybe more focused or more energized or whatever that is, then you're going to do more stuff. I've been experiencing this a lot recently. I don't know if you listen to my podcast. I don't know who you are. I guess you're just someone on YouTube, and it's not that creepy where it tells me exactly who you are. But I don't know if you listen to the podcast, but I recently in an episode was talking about how I've made some big changes to my diet and health. And that's involved like exercising pretty much every single day and some big changes with diet, and that I may do a video on it at some point. What that has had as a keystone habit for me has been really significant in that I've been feeling a lot more energized. I mean, I was never like Debbie Downer, but I've been feeling way more energized. I've been getting up earlier. Like today I got up at 5:30, no alarm. I just felt great, got up at 5:30. I was at the gym by 8. I'd already done an hour and a half of work. It's crazy. And this has come from making those changes to diet and exercise. Who knew, right? Diet and exercise. And what that is now doing though, is it's opening up my business in terms of what's possible, because now I look at it and I say like, I have so much energy, I have much better focus, and I have much more time because I'm not screwing around, I'm more focused and whatever else. And I was pretty good at that stuff already. So now it's changing other things I do, whether it's looking at maybe learning a language and putting in more time because I have the time, or starting some other hobbies or things like that as well. Changing other habits because I now have the resources to do that. So my conclusion here is, if you've been struggling to make some big changes in your life, rather than trying to do like 10 things at once and coming up with this big list, like I'm going to use my phone less, I'm going to eat less, sugar and less carbs, and I'm going to try to exercise more, and coming up with this massive list of stuff, instead, pick one thing you could do and stick to that will likely have these big effects on other areas of your life and give you the energy and resources to do more. Like meditation, something that I've really struggled with. I've never got in the habit for more than a couple weeks of meditating, and I don't meditate right now. But it's something I'm probably going to add to my routine in the next little while, because I feel even more in control. I feel like I have the resources to add more habits now and add more to my routine. Where before I would try to do all this stuff and I just didn't have enough there to make it happen. So I would encourage you to pick one thing. Exercise is probably the best. I'm going to do more videos on this, but the science behind your brain and exercise, you can't argue with it. And so if you're in a funk, I would say exercise is the absolute first habit, the only thing to do. As you exercise more, you'll change what you eat naturally, and a lot of other things will change as well. It could also be like getting off your phone at night or in the morning, except if you're watching my videos. Never turn off my videos. Could be, reading more, doing something else, but making that first habit that will have different effects throughout your life. If you want to, I encourage you to share that below in the comments, so you can get feedback and support and maybe inspire other people, because I've only listed a few habits here and I'm sure there's a lot more. The other thing, I'm going to make another video that I'll link to from this about a keystone change. So just thinking about keystone habits, it got me thinking, like, what are the big changes you can make in your life? A single change, a single moment that has huge effects. So I'm going to have a video on that coming up as well. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. I'd love to catch you in other videos. And if you are wondering about this amazing shirt, it is from a local Czech designer here in Prague. You can order it worldwide. Very cheap shipping. It's awesome. It gets a lot of attention from the ladies, gentlemen. and I'll put a link below to that in the description. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video soon.